I actually thought that was Mark Ruffalo, and I was really confused for a long time. And I googled it, and I'm like, oh, it's not even him at all. So I was like, yeah. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Narratives and Nonsense. I am Jordan. This is Connor. We are friends talking about random and recent stories, newsworthy or otherwise. Uh, so Connor, how have you been this last week?
Well, weather's been better, so that's been really nice. Been a little windy, but other than that, it's good. I was driving up north quite a bit to go work, and I don't have to do that anymore. But the current spot I'm at is a total gong show and is not built right, so that's been really fun.
Ugh.
Um, I did get to go out to the card shop yesterday.
Okay,
That was really nice.
play some Magic.
Yeah, yeah, gotta play a little Commander. We missed the pre-release, but play some
Mm.
Commander, and I grabbed probably won't be able to see it too well. I apologize, but grabbed a new box of X-Wing. It's the Academy or the Sky
Ooh.
Strike Academy Squadron pack.
Yay.
Those are
Ooh.
really good. I'd suggest them if you want to get into X-Wing.
That's fair. Dude, X-Wing that's something that I've wanted to get into simply because I like the minis. That's literally
Yeah.
it. Like using those
Oh,
for D&D would be so fun.
oh, seriously. It's a really cathartic game. I like the flying aspect of it. It's
Mhm.
actually it's like the skill ceiling just keeps going for that. So like that's the part I really enjoy, and the models
Yeah.
are super fun. So
I
yeah, it's a
I'm
pretty good
trying to
weekend.
remember. I know it's not X-Wing, or at least I'm pretty sure. Whatever the Star Wars Saga Edition D&D system is was built around one of the mini games that was released alongside it.
Oh,
That was really
Armada,
cool. That sounds right.
I think.
That
That's the
might be
current.
it.
Well, that's the Fantasy Flight one. So maybe
Oh,
either way.
no. It would be the one that came
Yeah,
before Fantasy Flights.
I don't
Whatever that
know
was. Yeah.
what that
Anyway,
was.
that's something I've wanted to. Just the minis are cool. That's the end
Oh
all
yeah.
be all for using them for D&D. Um how have I been? Weather-wise here in Colorado, man, our weather has done the good old Colorado trick of whatever it wants. It snowed and then it was like 60s and then it snowed again. So, it's just consistently being weird. Um,
Classic.
but yeah, besides kind of like
Well,
the usual of work and stuff, what else have I done? Uh,
pardon?
can you hear me? And we're back. So that was some weird technical stuff. Anyway, so the weather's been weird, and then after that, goodness, this last week, I showed my parents Vox Machina, the first two episodes, which, to be fair, I would say are the most lackluster of what we've seen so far. As the show continues, it's only getting better and better. Please go watch it; it's awesome. Uh, their reaction, they did laugh a couple of times, but they do think it's stupid. I think it's weird because they're big fans of like The Witcher, so it's not necessarily like vulgarity,
Too much a stretch.
and like it's not violence or nudity. So I think it's literally just the fact that it's animated that they don't like it, and I always think that's weird because they grew up in like the Disney Renaissance where we went from like Looney Tunes style to like 2 minute short clips of just cartoon humor to okay, animation's gonna be much more serious now. We're gonna like Beauty and the Beast drama,
Yeah,
musical
like no kidding.
stuff. So I don't get it. I don't understand.
I guess
But
I'll have to try and show my parents it and see what happens.
yeah, I'm curious to see what your parents would say. Is this a
Ooh,
generational thing? Is this something else?
yeah.
Uh,
My
so
mom's gonna be like, ah, Satan.
yeah, so
She
uh,
literally thought that about D&D. It was very funny.
oh good. I hopefully this opens her eyes to like no, it's not a satanic panic. It's just fantasy. It's just being Lord of the Rings, but you get a pick. That's kind of the
No
thought
kidding.
process now. um, Besides that, what else is there? Oh, Super Bowl commercials. I like the Dogecoin
Ah,
commercial
yes.
where he
It
stuck his head out the window in the spaceship rocketing to the moon. Am I right? Or
no kidding.
how
Like
they got Yo
all
Gabba
the way to
Gabba,
Mars with Elon Musk.
yeah, and Yo Gabba Gabba with Eminem, and in the halftime show with all the other famous rappers,
Yeah, I mean,
and and the
it's the whole reason I
Bangrams
watched.
did the touchdown kickball in third quarter. For those at home,
The
we
amount of sport ball that was played here.
was insurmountable. For those at home, we record during the weekends, and the Super Bowl happens in a couple of hours, so we have not gotten to see the results. But there you go. There's our fun little spiel to acknowledge its
And I will
existence.
totally check them. Yep.
I will be watching all of the commercials. Like Hank Green did a dissection based on a like Wall Street Journal like study of how much time is spent in a football game, and it's something like a third of it is commercials, and like another half of it is just like people standing around not actually playing the game. 11 minutes of 174 minutes of programming is gameplay proper, and then the rest is replays talking about it, stuff like that. It's eye opening. And it
Very.
also makes sense why like commercials are so expensive during the Super Bowl, because it's just a giant commercial time. Uh, so there you go, Super Bowl. Uh, what else is there news wise? Okay, so this last week has some fun, good news things. The first one, which I think is probably the most interesting. This is a little bit older in the week, but there was a slot machine player, tourist person in Nevada, and apparently there was a bug in the slot machine where they had won, but it didn't tell the tourists that they had actually won, and so the like gambling board or whatever that was in charge of the casino like went and hunted this guy down to tell him, "Yo, you won like an insurmountable amount of money." Like
Yeah.
that I thought was actually
Hitting a
super cool,
jackpot or something.
right?
Yeah.
Um, Apparently there is a little bit of a legal concern with something like that. There is like an obligation that you can't be
Oh,
cheating people out
absolutely.
for gambling and the like. So there is
But
this
like,
little bit
what
of
regulatory
expectation,
body is going in there all
right?
the time to check that kind of stuff? Like, who
Yeah,
knows?
yeah. I don't know how often that kind of information would be followed up on, so it's pretty cool to see it actually enacted and going through to work. So if you're gambling, have faith that if you win something, you do win it. Granted, the house is still still the winner at the end, but you could still be like you have at least that safety and security on you. um, Following that, Connor, are you still with me? Did you freeze again? And we're back again.
Yay!
Yay! Good old internet on a Sunday. What, the Super Bowl is about to happen, and so the internet implodes, I guess.
No
So,
kidding.
uh, next order of business. Uh, this is actually probably one of the more fun stories that we've had. Somebody had apparently broken into this guy's house, and he takes a bath, goes down to the kitchen, like has some shrimp, gets a beer. He breaks in by literally like smashing a window to get inside, and then the guy reportedly felt bad about it and took out $200 and like left it on the counter so that way he could like help kind of pay for the repair of the window. This dude was literally just like chilling in this guy's house until the homeowner eventually confronted him. Apparently, he was arrested in the last couple of days. I have no
Hmm.
idea what kind of like charges or not would be involved, but like, what a weirdly considerate thing for smashing in a
Yeah.
window and just like living it up for a hot minute. Just
Yeah. No kidding.
I don't even I don't
Like,
even
how this
know.
guy just is casual about this. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
he's
bah.
just like, yeah, I'm sorry I broke your window. Here's $200, which, to be fair, I don't think that would cover it. I feel like windows
Oh
sit in
God,
like,
no.
especially depending on the window. Like if it's a shitty window, maybe $200, but especially during the pandemic with like supply chain nonsense, I'm gonna guess that window is probably between like $500 to like 1,000, maybe even
Oh
two if it's
yeah.
one of those like nice insulated things. Um, yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's
It's
just
a
like,
super nice one.
yeah, I was just like, oh my
Energy
God.
efficiency. Oof.
Yeah, but Apparently
Bold
the
play.
like apparently the reason for it, part of it is that it was cold out, but another thing was the gentleman that committed the horror, the guy that got arrested, um apparently like some of his family ended up dying in a different part of Texas, and so he was on the run from someone. Like
Hmm.
that was the extent of what the article
Yeah,
said. like
I'm kind of curious about that part
like
of it.
I want to know so much about what just happened in this guy's life. like it's funny. It reminds me of like if you haven't listened to Cox and Crendor, it's another podcast. Fantastic. Please do. They often have a Florida man segment because
Yeah,
people be crazy in Florida. It feels like something like that, except it just happened to be in Texas instead. So that was
is that gonna be
entertaining,
ours? Texas
right?
Manage.
Texas man. Oh man, I don't think Texas people are quite as crazy. Uh,
I don't know. It's a big state, man.
that's true. It is pretty nice. yeah.
There's always
Um.
something going down in old Texas.
Oh yeah. So besides news, holiday stuff. Uh, given when this comes out, wouldn't you know? It's a certain time of year where love is in the air. There's a lot of different holidays. I will say some of them are kind of cutesy. So there's library lovers. There's also like give a friend a book day falls into that same category. Donor day. So if you wanted to help somebody else out. Ferris wheel day, which I think is meant for like
It's
the
a good
big
day.
holiday of the day. And clear out your computer day. You know, if you've got stuff that needs to be recycled or deleted, start doing it. You know, there's only so much space in the world. It gets bigger as time goes on, it feels like, but there still is only so much space. You'll make your
Well, and
computer
it's all
run better.
cluttered.
Yeah, you can make your computer better. You can make your life less stressful if you go through to organize. But the big holiday in question naturally is Impotence Day. No.
Good old Impotence Day.
there's Impotence Day, which I can't help but think they chose to make it this day because it happens to also be Valentine's Day. And
No.
that's just
Total
hilarious.
coincidence.
Total coincidence. I whoever decided that, good on them. They are a top tier troll. I am convinced that somebody did that because it is funny. Because that's hilarious, is what that is. Oh my gosh. So, yeah, those are some of a number of holidays. If you were so interested in celebrating any of them, I will say, uh, clear out your computer day. That's something that I'm going to be following up on a little bit because
Yeah, it's a good day.
Jesus, I have files all over the place that just they need to be organized. I have like my desktop physically look like a room with a desktop and shelves to try to keep things organized, and there are things off the shelves in my virtual desktop. Like, it's rough. Uh, so yeah, in celebration of Valentine's Day, we are but two single dudes. So
As always.
we decided to try to celebrate the occasion and watch a rom-com. And I brought up one that Connor had not seen called Just Friends. It's from 2005. And Connor, what did you think?
Well, it has Ryan Reynolds in it, so that was a pretty easy sell right from the very start.
yeah, and
But I actually oh,
it is a Ryan's Reynolds movie at its heart, I would say. Like they just let
oh
him
yeah.
go. So anyway,
But I really actually I've watched a lot of rom-coms. Like I grew up with most like my dad had to travel for work a lot, so I was around my mom and sister a lot, so I had to watch a lot of rom-coms. I really like this one actually, and a lot of people might just say, "Oh, you just thought Ryan Reynolds was funny," and you're right. That is true,
yeah.
but I still thought the cast overall was pretty great, and I really like the setup for it, where they were like friends in high school and stuff. And Ryan
Mhm.
Reynolds has some amazing prosthetics to make him look heavier than he really is, and I thought those looked
Yeah.
really good. I was impressed for a
Yeah, yeah.
2005 rom com.
So kind of touching on the production and the acting side of it. I feel like actors wise, everyone fit where like the people that I did recognize and know fit where I would kind of expect them to be. So, what is it? Anna Faris, who's what I would assume is most well known from the scary movies, the like horror
I'd say so.
genre rip-off parody
At least some of
movies.
her more successful stuff.
Yeah, yeah. She's, I mean, in those movies, she's quirky, loud, screaming, that kind of thing. In this, she
Weirdly
is,
unhinged sometimes.
yeah, in this, she is a an unhinged pop star. So I don't want to say it's an outright typecast. Like there is a little bit of a tangent to it, but she plays crazy very well, to say the least.
Yes.
Um, that was entertaining, and oh, as always, still in a very comedic fashion. Ryan Reynolds is Ryan
Oh
Reynolds.
my
I
god.
mean, we like in trying to talk about him, we were like, okay, what makes him so funny in this? Because it's weird with how prevalent like Deadpool and post Deadpool stuff has been. It feels like Ryan Reynolds is kind of like a comedic reference type of person. I'd almost say something like how, without being an impressionist, how Robin Williams would always reference things. That's kind of how I
Yeah.
felt with it. And in watching this, I realized no, that's not the case. Like Ryan Reynolds has even more to him because it's just like he's snappy, he's sharp with the dialogue. I know in a lot of his other movies, like he's given kind of free reign as far as being able to improv a lot of the lines, which is nice.
Yeah. He very
Um,
much does a lot of his own thing, which is cool.
yeah, but with something like Deadpool, where he's covered by the mask and you have what CG is available to do the expressions, I forgot just how expressful his face is just
Yeah.
throughout the film. Like it,
No, absolutely.
right? It to me, it was something that I almost compared it to, if you know, like Jim Carrey is very full of expressions. I mean, the dude, I'm convinced that his face is almost made of rubber with just how he can contort and morph it. And
Yeah. Like seriously.
yeah, and without going as far as Jim Carrey and I would say almost looking like a cartoon character, Ryan Reynolds just, there's something else happening there. It's fantastic.
His
Very, very
expressions
silly.
are
Top tier.
perfect and feel very natural.
Yeah. And in the midst of all of this, I mean, he still has a very kind of dry delivery, sarcastic
Oh
humor
yeah.
about it that I love it. It's really, really funny.
But
If
it's
you
not like
like
he's
it,
laughing at you, he's just laughing about you.
yeah, yeah, and I would say if you like Ryan Reynolds, you'll really like Just Friends, because it's just more of it. In terms of like the humor and the plot, I haven't watched a lot of rom-coms, but in watching it, I thought it was kind of like Hitch, which that apparently came out in the same year, back in 2005, and that's with Will Smith kind of playing as a he's like a dating coach of sorts, and he helps guide somebody through his relationship and giving advice on like what to do, what not to do. And there's like elements of that, the kind of like playboy person, but like in Hitch, you get a little bit of a fish out of water, because in Hitch, Will Smith's character, the like connoisseur of dating guy, ends up trying to like get into a relationship and fail spectacularly along the way. Ryan Reynolds, similarly, like you start off with him in high school being quote just friends with well, with this person that he eventually starts developing feelings for, has a big crush on. Things happen. He gets really embarrassed at like a high school senior year party, and he ends up going away for like ever. Yeah, I think they said it was 10 years. He ends up losing a lot of weight. Um, he becomes like this big like media, I'm gonna say media guru. Like he works with people that go to the Grammys type stuff. Like he's some hot shot in Hollywood. He dates for fun
Yeah.
all over the place, from one person to the next, that kind of thing. And he ends up, through a series of unfortunate events, he ends up getting stuck in his hometown in New Jersey, and so he has to go and come across like his family, and runs into the person that he was just friends with. Shenanigans ensues. Um,
Yeah. Boy do they.
yeah, to me, I found it funny that they were so similar, and yet they came out at about the same time, but not enough time that like one is copying the other. Hitch came out in like February, and Just Friends came out in November. To me, that's not enough time to like go through and make that fully functional movie in that frame. Like that's
Oh yeah.
such a quick turnaround. So
Well,
it,
and
yeah,
neither can really claim originality on that. Like,
that's
there's a
true.
very classic play, Serrano de
Hmm.
Bergerac, or something like that. Very much that same line. Smooth talker who can never really seal the deal himself and has to help somebody else do it,
Yeah,
but he loves the girl. So very a lot of parallels there.
yeah, yeah. So,
And there's
um,
actually a Steve Carell movie of that too. If anybody else is interested in more
yeah,
movies like
I
these.
defer to Connor as my rom com expert. So following that, like production wise, I feel like it met its needs. It,
Yeah,
you wanted to
it's a rom
complement.
com.
Yeah, I know for me, like the sound, the music, it did what it needed to do. Setting, I mean, the sets looked fine. The actors were doing a good job. It's engaging throughout the entirety of it, but you had a couple of compliments. One being the fat suit, which I
Oh my
completely
god, those
agree.
prosthetics were
Uh,
so well done and blended.
it's yeah,
Ex-
yeah, and given that it's Ryan Reynolds who is not a hefty person,
no.
it's surprisingly believable. Like
Yeah, they did really well to like make it fit to his face,
yeah, and
even
this
look
is
off.
yeah, and this is in 2005, so it's not like a CG thing. The next closest thing I can think of is what trying to go back as far as then. I'm like 2009 is Captain America, and they do the head replacement for Steve
Yeah,
Rogers when he's
the
not a
superimpose.
beefcake. like they didn't have that, so they had to do it through prosthetic, and it looks really
They
good.
might have been able to pull that off, but no one's gonna pay that kind of money on a rom com
Yeah,
for some production thing like that. So
yeah,
practical just makes sense.
yeah, and they did a good job with it. There was that. You also wanted to compliment the lighting as well. Uh, I think that was something else that you had
It
mentioned.
was
Like,
really nice. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of people don't notice, but I thought it had a really good amount of saturation to it. Like I actually
mhm,
noticed it. It was real warm. I enjoyed it a lot.
yeah,
But I wouldn't say it stuck out as something as much as like Joker's did or something like that.
yeah,
But thought it was excellent.
it's still very much serviceable, but not distracting. Like it elevates some of the emotion without going over the top. Would that be
Yeah.
a way to put it? All right. And then the last thing would be essentially just on the writing of it. And this will enter more spoiler territory. I do highly recommend watching it. It's really funny. Even with spoilers, I think it's still really
Yeah,
good to
I don't think
watch.
you'll lose
Like
much. I don't know spoiler,
no,
but
I mean it's a pretty predictable rom-com. Guy likes girl, guy tries to get girl, fails, disappears, comes back, shenanigans ensues, guy eventually comes around to get girl. Like that's kind of the gist of it. But there are some like twists and turns that I thought were fun in both the premise as well as the just like the way that the characters interacted. So going back to how the actors are a bit predictable, uh Anna Faris's character, the pop star, um she's just like the ultimate outright insane. If you've seen Social Network, it's a movie about Facebook. Brenda Song plays a insane
oh
person,
yeah.
um, and that doesn't even live up to it. like, like she sets a scarf on fire like in the middle of the room. Anna Faris's character literally crashes a car into. This is set around Christmas, funnily enough. Um, she crashes a car into somebody's front yard and like takes down all of the decorations through vehicular attempted homicide. Like that level of just absolute insane. Um, she like I feel like if you enjoy that level of over the topness, I think you'll enjoy it. I know for me, it's going to be more of a hit or miss for that character, but I think she does that character very well, and I think writing wise, it was interesting to see them keep her involved with the plot. Like she's the reason that they get to this small town that he grew up in, but they don't
It's
just
kind of the
fix
driving
it,
force
remove
there.
it. Yeah, she's the initial driving force, and then she's still there. They have to deal with the fact that she's there, and
Yeah,
they do so
in
very
this
funnily.
like town.
Yeah, they have his brother basically, who's a super fan slash uh enjoyer of her posters. Go and basically like go around the town through various things. Like they go to the mall at one point, she falls and like gets a massive concussion. She starts eating toothpaste afterward because she's drugged up on like Vicodin. She goes to the local coffee shop, which is since in like the 10 years since he's been gone turned into like a metal shop. And so she just like literally leaps at a mob. I mean, just all sorts of weird stuff. On the subject of the brother though, I thought that the sibling rivalry, just in terms of like how it's conveyed, is really fun. Like if anybody has ever had a sibling, it does feel like how they interact a lot of the time. That's my opinion
Yeah,
of it. Like holy crap. It
it's very organic. I
yeah,
enjoyed it a lot. It
incredibly
was like fun.
organic. They're beating each other up, and then the moment that one of the parents gets involved, they're like, "We good? We're good. Okay, cool." Hello. Like it's just it's so just going back to Ryan Reynolds, it's sharp, it's really sharp. And um really the only thing I would say against the sibling thing is I feel like the high school version, the fat Ryan Reynolds in the movie before he like goes off, loses weight, becomes like super pseudo famous.
Yeah,
I feel like Ryan Reynolds' high school version of them wouldn't pick on his brother like modern day Ryan Reynolds would. We don't actually get to see the brother during his like high school phase of it. I feel like that could maybe have been a bit more connected or stronger. That's really like probably the only complaint I would have. And it's not even a complaint. It's more like a I'm thinking on it and maybe I can nitpick that and that's about it. Like it's it's really well done for when the two of them are on screen together. Um what else was there? Writing wise, I like the progression of the characters that were in the small town that end up conveying different aspects or like being different pieces of the puzzle of the grander movie. So, because we have a bit of the high school scene stuff, um, I like the fact that like the Jacques superstar football player that kind of bullies Ryan Reynolds' character shows up again later and just basically conveys that hey, Julie, your friend, still hot, still here. Sucks that you aren't that kind of thing. Um,
yeah,
and he's kind of like a washed up, peaked in high school type of person. Um, likewise, the two best friends to Ryan Reynolds' character, they ended up like getting together and are married now. And then, uh, for those two, it's funny to see them both interact with Ryan Reynolds' character and Julie. I forget what what's Ryan Reynolds' character's name because I just keep
uh,
looking at it as it being Ryan Reynolds.
I don't do character
Right?
names. It's Ryan Reynolds.
I
So
know. I just
I
remember
don't even bother.
the reason I
I'm so
remember
shit with names.
uh the reason I remember it's Julie is because one of the other characters, Dusty, is also like trying to get with her in high school and like has like a mullet and pimples and is really badly playing guitar. But he sings like Julie, you're my favorite, like, and he changes the name of the person depending on who he's hitting on. But that's how I remember that. Um,
It's
and
Chris is his name, Chris Pratt.
Chris, that's it. So Ryan Reynolds' character Chris, uh, his two friends split up where like they've gotten married and they're talking to each other a lot of the time. They're usually with each other, but at different points in the movie, they end up talking respectively to Chris and to Julie about the fact that they're trying to get together, and they just like pop up
Yeah.
all over the place. Because at one point, Chris ends up getting hurt again. Ryan Reynolds' character. Uh, Chris ends up getting hurt during a hockey game, and so his teeth are all messed up. So he ends up going to the dentist where his friend happens to work. So it's just them hanging out while he's doing surgery or doing stitching for his mouth. Like it's just like the fact that it's so interconnected like that was really really surprising and fun for what I
Yeah,
would
there weren't
assume
a
was.
lot of like one-off characters. Like people were kind of around to be around.
Yeah, yeah,
They didn't
exactly.
just get thrown by the wayside as soon as it was like, oh, okay, these are the best friends. We're not just checking in and forgetting about them.
Yeah, yeah, and the fact that Julie is talking to the wife, going like, "I'm doing everything I can to like I like him a lot and nothing's working. I'm basically throwing myself at him." And Ryan Reynolds is like, "God, I'm such an idiot. What am I supposed to do?" to the husband. And like neither of them convey that to each other, just adds to the humor of the back and forth. Like it's just
Well, it's like the
oh.
classic. There's a couple of YouTubers like one of them's Taku or something, and
Yep.
they're always like so horny with each other or whatever. But then there's all these memes of what happens when they actually meet up and they're awkward. So it's always
Oh.
that funny thing of like these two attractive people, very successful, good amount, good careers, and they're like, oh, I just don't know if they like me. It's like, I mean, you're Ryan Reynolds and you're like a Hollywood something or other, and
Yeah.
she works in a dentist's office, so like, I don't really know what you guys are gonna worry about.
Yeah, no. So there's a lot of fun surprises with where the characters come through and the fact that you still get that dynamic. It feels like a lot of the dynamic carries over from like the small high school intro segment very
Oh,
well.
absolutely,
Like
yeah.
you believe that these relationships go back as far as they supposedly do. So that's both well
They
acted,
feel
well
like
written. They feel real while still being this weird elevated rom com kind of craziness. Because I mean, it gets out of hand in terms of like, would this actually happen? Like the paramedics drop Ryan, drop Chris Ryan Reynolds' character, just like off a sled and upside down in the middle of a hockey rink, like that kind of like just absurd, silly humor that borders on just outright slapstick. It's really good. Um, so besides that, I don't know what else I would say about the movie that I haven't, other than go and watch it. It's absolutely enjoyable. Um, it's it, it, it's surprising to me how many people haven't seen this movie because it's really funny. But I do owe a lot of its success to Ryan Reynolds being involved because
yeah,
I would say that he is the standout star of it that has stood the test of time. There's like the rest of the actors, it's something where I haven't even seen. I actually thought that uh, Chris's friend, the dentist, uh, that he knew in high school, I actually thought that was Mark Ruffalo, and I was really confused for a long time. And I googled it, and I'm like, oh, it's not even him at all. So I was like, yeah, like the only person I know well by name is Ryan Reynolds, and then I recognized Anna Faris from the scary movies, but I wouldn't have known her by name if we hadn't talked about it.
no kidding.
Yeah.
She is
Um,
very funny though. I was happy to see her.
yes, yes, very funny, very well done. But besides that, I think that'll do for today's shenanigans.
Yeah,
If you wanted to see more, I stream Halo on Sundays. Today, the Super Bowl is going to make that a little bit more interesting. So next week you're going to see that still maintaining consistency at 7:30 on. The Super Bowl goes a little bit later usually. So, and then what else? Kingdom Hearts on Wednesdays as well. That's with my buddy John. And then you can all check that out at Gillidan for the win. Gillidan FTW and link in the doobly doo.
can
Connor.
also watch our bit of our Star Wars campaign too on there times.
Yeah, yeah,
Well,
that'll
as
eventually.
always, you can catch me at Five String Connor on YouTube, the
Woo!
master of the five strings with absolutely no rings, as always, and my
Has
random
anyone
repository stuff. And
has anyone beat you in Pokemon yet?
Oh no, I haven't got. I am still the reigning champion, undisputed.
Get on
Some
it.
would even say.
Get on it.
Bring it on, PU. I'll play whatever you want. OU, PU, TU, AG. I take it all. Little cup, anything and all, I think. But yeah,
And everything.
other than that,
Sweet.
peace.
Well, outside of that, we will see you guys all next time. Adios.
Awesome.